So some of you have podcasts, some of you are thinking of podcasts, some of you are probably already past the podcast stage, don't even realize it, because you're already doing that. Why start a podcast? Let's start there. Why would we start a podcast? Why did you guys start your podcast?
We like yapping.
Yeah.
I know, I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way. That's awesome, right? Sabby, why did you start your YouTube channel?
I wanted to be popular.
That you wanted to be popular?
I wanted to be popular.
Why do you want to be popular? Because that comes with a whole list of crap that nobody wants, right?
Why I wanted to be popular. I just wanted to be popular.
So you have what? What did you say you had? 200,000
Subscribers.
Subscribers. Okay. Are you popular?
Well, I mean,
what's it gonna take?
now
$1 million?
I don't care about
2 million?
Well, I don't know. It's the same thing. Every time, you hit a milestone, you're now looking at there was a point where I thought 10,000, and I'm good, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Now, maybe $1 million, but again, now I don't look at numbers.
Yeah. Numbers mean nothing.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in actually the smaller the numbers.
So we debate that? No, because numbers are a guidepost, right? So in a bit,
they are, but they could be a
numbers. Then guess what? Your profitability will go to zero.
Yeah.
So
right.
Numbers are a guide point. And I get arguments for this all the time because I meet entrepreneurs and say, "Oh, numbers aren't important."
Yeah.
They're a guidepost.
But
Yes.
they can fool you.
They misleading all the time.
And that's the reason that people like Instagram and all that are starting to take their likes away, because it's misleading and causing people to do some really silly stuff. So the nice thing about podcasting, because you're a YouTube, very impressive numbers for YouTube, but podcasting is probably one of the most intimate platforms that you can ever have. And the reason for that is that people are using it with headphones. Right? So, when you ever hear someone's talking in my ear, and if it's your ex-wife, you're just going, I'm going to throw this headphone down the road. But sometimes you actually want to listen to what they're saying. But how many people have listened? You guys listen to podcasts? Who's listened to podcasts? Everybody's listened to podcasts? Okay. Anybody have a favorite show? No, I'm just kidding. Do you have a favorite show? Is it mine? Yeah.
Actually, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. So Joe is probably the leader and the biggest in the space for podcasting. Everybody listens to Joe Rogan.
3 hours.
Yeah, I won't listen to 3 hours. But the thing is that once you get that favorite person, you start listening to them all the time, and you start feeling like you know them. And it's actually more intimate than video, although video is helpful because you can see them. But I have to sit there and watch a video, and I may or may not be using headphones. Whereas with headphones, it's even closer to you, right? And you get to know them. And actually, if you take away the video part, you have your own idea of what that person looks like in your mind, which sometimes will help, right? If you've ever been on a bad date, leaving that alone. Okay, so the nice thing about podcasting, time advantage, right? So why did I not start a YouTube channel for truck drivers? Because they shouldn't be watching videos while they drive down the highway. But they can listen to a podcast, right? I listen to my podcast when I go to the gym every morning, right? So that's one of the reasons I started with a half-hour show, because I go to the gym for an hour and a half. I listen to 3 podcasts every day. Sometimes they're my episodes, sometimes they're others, right? So the time advantage is a really good thing. Are you passionate about what you're going to say, right? So it's a popular media. It creates authority. You guys already have authority, right? Just because you have a podcast, whether you do anything with it or not. 10 episodes in, you're already authority, right? Savvy, same way, right? It's like putting out a blog. It's like putting out video, whatever content. You guys are all content creators in this room. So putting out content automatically makes you an authority. The more people you reach and the more avenues and the more they understand what you do, the more of an authority you become, right? So I've been putting out content for years. Since 2007 is when I started blogging, and I'm still blogging, and I'm podcasting and television and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's a great way to do that. Improves your skills. So one of the reasons I started my podcast was to improve my speaking skills, right? Because it's the same. If you guys know, right? How long's your show?
It all depends on the subject and how well we're going.
Right, but do you keep it to an average of half hour, an hour?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half. That's a long show. That's a long show. Do you find it hard sometimes to tackle that? But that's the same as if I said, would you guys come and do a presentation on your show? You would probably put it together very similar to the way you put your podcast together, right? Whether you do notes ahead of time or whatever is totally up to you, but there's a way of putting the show together, right? So that's why it's really good. And then of course, are you passionate about what you're talking about, right? So are you saying you're into health and especially for South Asians?
Yeah, mental health issues in the community.
Right. So that's a great reason because you're starting because that's your passion, right? So that's
I studied it a lot while I did masters, and I just know a lot about it.
Yeah.
And we've been having this conversation for a long time, so
yeah.
Put it into something.
If you were to start your podcast, because you haven't started one yet, if you were to start your podcast, other than you want to share that message, is there another reason that you might want to start your podcast?
I actually wanted to. So I've been told I'm monotone. I want to work on the inflectionist. So I've been practicing that.
All right, do it. Sound exciting for us right now. Come on, you can do it. Someone help him make us be exciting. Don't make us pull your arm. Don't make us pull your arm.